With that, I will be closing the public testimony on Senate Bill 807 and opening a public testimony on Senate Bill 225. And can we get an overview?
Chair Manning, Vice Chair Thatcher, and members of the committee. Senate Bill 225 exempts up to $17,500 from federal taxable income for taxpayers who have not reached 63 years of age before the close of the taxable year, and whose federal taxable income includes retirement pay or pension for service in the armed forces of the United States. The exemption may not exceed the total amount of retirement pay or pension the taxpayer receives, nor include retirement pay or pension that is subtracted for federal employment prior to October 1st, 1991. The Department of Revenue is directed to adjust the maximum exemption for inflation. The measure applies to tax years beginning on or after January 1st, 2025, and takes effect on the 91st day following adjournment sine die.
Thank you. Senator Sollman, please. I'm sorry?
Are you going to testify, sir?
Yeah, I'm going to do it from up here. But I know you got committees that you got.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
why
I was expecting to go after you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Chair Manning, Vice Chair Thatcher, and member of the committee. For the record, I'm Janine Sollman. I'm the state senator for Senate District 15, and that includes areas of Forest Grove, Cornelius, Hillsborough, and the Rock Creek area of Washington County. I thank you for this opportunity to testify in support of Senate Bill 225. I previously brought this concept forward in 2023 and have worked on it with Senator Manning and Senator Thatcher since then. I'm grateful to Senator Manning for bringing it forward once again as a way to show Oregon veterans that we support them. And we want them here in Oregon working for Oregonians. I was initially compelled to bring forth this piece of legislation after a conversation that I had with Thomas Murdoch. He's a former North Plains constituent. I remember knocking on his door, and when we were chatting, he said, "This is an issue I want to talk to you about. This is forcing the potentially of me taking my family and crossing over into Washington. That's how much of a difference. That's how much of why we need this a change in legislation because I want to be able to work here, but this is taxing my family in ways that I can see benefits moving across the bridge into Washington for." So at about 2/3 of our states initially do not tax military retirement pay, either because they don't have state income taxes or at all, or they have specifically already exempted military retirement pay. The remaining states tax military retirement pay income partially. In 2022, there were 7 states that passed laws exempting or partially exempting military retirement pay from the state income tax liability. This is an important step that we can take here and to help attract more veterans to call Oregon their home. Veterans bring, and this point I really want to emphasize, veterans bring a rich work experience, professional training, strong work ethic, and commitment to purpose for our workforce. I'm a proud military family, 7 members of my family all serving in the Navy. My father was retired from the Navy. Military veterans who have dedicated their lives and their family time to serving and protecting our nation should feel that honor of service. Colleagues, thank you for this time today, and I urge your support of such an important bill, and I urge your support of Senate Bill 225. Thank you.
Senator, thank you very much. Questions of the senator? I know she's got other obligations.
Thank you.
I'll put my testimony in at a later today.
Okay.
Senator Thatcher may want to chime in as well. Perfect. So I encourage the colleagues here at the dais to provide testimony and comments from here instead of going out there, so we don't be playing musical gavel or chairs. But thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity.
We have in person John Swanson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Find my glasses.
I understand. Take your time.
Just had double cataract surgery, but still need the glasses. I'm here as the official representative for the United Veteran Groups of Oregon.
Please state your name.
I am John Todd Swanson,
Thank you.
disabled veteran, and I am here, like I said, representing the United Veteran Groups of Oregon. I wish to thank you and the members of the committee for your service to the state of Oregon and for your steadfast dedication to improving the lives of Oregon veterans. The UVGO represents and advocates on the behalf of 14 major veteran groups in the state of Oregon, representing and serving more than 3,000 veteran residents. I wish to assure you that when we are advocating or communicating with your committee, the position we present represents the ununanimous view of our 14 veteran organizations in Oregon. Throughout consideration to the best of our interest for all veterans in our great state. Senate Bill 225 will make retirement life more affordable for military veterans in Oregon and a shot in the arm for a long-term advocacy on behalf of Oregon veterans. Enhancement of relations will actually significantly boost Oregon's ability to attract high-value retiree veterans. I won't continue. I have supplied you each with copies, but we are very much in support of this bill and unanimously.
Sir, thank you so much. Go ahead, please.
I would also, on a personal, not connected to the unit group, as a veteran, I don't get pension myself, but I have checked, and it is a disgrace that Portland, Oregon, who is a leader in taking care of their vets, hasn't joined so many states that do this. This is something that is very much needed for our vets.
Thank you, sir. Questions from the committee?
No, thank you.
Thank you for your sacrifices. Next, we have what, 5 remote? First one we have Mayor Beatty. Madam Mayor, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Good to see you.
You as well. Good afternoon, Chair Manning, Vice Chair Thatcher, and apparently member of the committee. For the record, I am Lacey Beatty, the very lucky mayor of Beaverton. Like many of you, I wear a lot of hats. I'm a proud Army combat veteran, a mom, and the only mayor in the country married to an active duty service member. That gives me a unique perspective. For almost 20 years, I've supported my husband through his service. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that military families serve and sacrifice too. The pressure on military families is real. In Oregon, it's even harder. We don't have an active duty base, which means we miss out on built-in support that families in other states enjoy. Things like lower cost childcare, healthcare, and fitness centers. Military families and retirees also have access to grocery stores on post, which brings prices on average 30% lower than the civilian economy. These are all factors that play a major role in where service members choose to retire. And right now, they're not choosing Oregon. According to Wallets Hub's 2025 ranking, Oregon is the 45th worst state for military retirees, 51st worst in economy environment, and the 31st worst in the quality of life. Currently, Oregon taxes military retirement pay, but not active duty pay while service members are still in uniform. Nothing says come serve our state during the prime years of your life and then leave after retirement, like a system designed exactly for that outcome. The average military pension is about $53,000 a year, which means most retirees will return to work in some capacity. As a mayor, I see firsthand the value of hiring people who have spent their life in service. By driving veterans away, we're not just losing out on experienced professionals, we're losing out on future business leaders, nonprofit board members, and highly skilled talent that companies in our state are constantly seeking. This isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do for Oregon's economy. And let's be clear, You don't see a room full of veterans here testifying today, but don't mistake that for a lack of concern. The military, regardless of the current administration, prides itself on being non-political, but the numbers speak for themselves. Oregon is one of the worst states in this country for military retirees. At a time when we're facing one of the worst recruiting crises in a generation, you heard from Colonel Gibson today. Young people and their parents will look at how we treat our veterans as a key factor in whether they choose to serve at all. Let's also remember that these funds were not generated by the state. It's federal, basically making the money coming in more like tourist money. And if they leave, we lose it all. I've heard the argument that if we do this for veterans, we have to do it for everyone else. That's an excuse, not a solution. This is a meaningful first step, and veterans are a meaningful group to start with. Supporting those who serve should be a nonpartisan issue. That's why I'm glad to see that this bill was brought together in a nonpartisan factor. At the very least, we should strive not to be ranked as the worst state in the country for military retirees. I urge you to support this bill and take a meaningful step towards honoring and assisting our veterans and their family. Thank you for your time.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Questions from the committee? I want to thank you for pointing out what a lot of people don't realize. These are federal funds. These are not state dollars. These are earned federal funds for these retirees. I agree with you. Thank you for your sacrifices, and as you continue to sacrifice with your husband on active duty.
Well, put me in anytime, Coach. I'm proud of the work this committee does and for your guys' service, and I'm here to support you. And let's get her done this cycle, so put me in.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have City Councilor Eric Zimmerman.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senators. Quickly, I'm Portland City Councilor Eric Zimmerman. I represent 165,000 Portland residents in District 4, which is all of Northwest, Southwest, downtown Portland, and even parts of Southeast Portland. My testimony in support of Senate Bill 225 today is not part of our larger city agenda, but it's important to me as an elected leader in our community. Moving Oregon toward and being on par with other states for retirees is an important step for us as a community. After a career in the military where I served as a lieutenant colonel and a battalion commander, I learned a few things, and I think they're important for your decision on this bill. Joint Base Lewis McChord, located at and near Tacoma, Washington, is one of the most preferred military bases for people approaching their last assignment in the military. And why might that be? Because as military members consider where they want to settle down after a life all over this country and this world, they are choosing the Pacific Northwest, but they are not choosing Oregon. Locally, we send Oregonians into service after high school and college, and we talk about wanting our homegrown Oregonians to return to Oregon and building their next chapter with us, but we aren't making it work in any financial sense for those Oregonians to retire here. So they move to Vancouver and Camas and Washougal, and they get the perks of the Pacific Northwest. Some are even close enough to enjoy Portland if that's their cup of tea, but they settle down across the river. For members of the National Guard already here in Oregon, who already have most of their part-time military income tax exempt, they have to make a choice once they retire about whether or not to stay in Oregon, where they will now encounter a new income tax burden simply for retiring. I want all of these members of our community to have more reasons to either stay in Oregon or to return to Oregon with valuable skills, valuable next chapters ahead of them, and the deep levels of public service commitment that they bring. I think an important step in the right direction is Senate Bill 225 to exempt military retirements from income tax. I think the exemption should be the sum of their military retirement. I think a retiree's age shouldn't matter, but I also understand incrementalism and I understand compromise, and this is an important step for some of the finest Oregonians that I know, and hopefully for some future Oregonians who will choose us instead of our neighbor to the north. And let's remember, military retirees start around 38 years old. They have an entire second or third career ahead of them where we can benefit from their service, their experience, their contributions to our economy, and building a future for young families across every school district in Oregon with an extra level of stability built in from their protected federal pension. I ask that the committee support this, and I urge you to do the work with your colleagues so they'll also support this moving forward. And I'll also just flag my very strong support for Senate Bill 807 that was heard earlier to keep a volunteer force in Oregon. So thank you very much, Senators. I am so sorry I couldn't be there in person. I am at City Hall doing the work of Portland's business. So thanks for the opportunity.
Colonel, I appreciate your testimony. Thank you for your continuous service. It seems like military folks don't know how to not serve. So thank you. I know that you are in a very dynamic new environment in terms of the makeup. I watch you on television. So continue to do good. And we appreciate you. Any other comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The next we have the Association of America. Thomas, is it Major Worski?
Good try, Chairman Manning.
I missed it, huh?
Murkowski, simple.
All right, I was
Doesn't look
close.
that way.
Well, you know what they say, hand grenades and horseshoes.
Well, when I was a major in the Air Force, it was major for all my troops. So what can you say, right?
Well, please give us your full name and begin your testimony.
Yes, sir. Chairman Manning and the committee members, my name is Tom Murkowski. I live up here in snowy Redmond right now, and it's an interesting day. I am president of the Oregon chapter of Councils of the Military Officers Association of America. And what we try to do at MOA is support the benefits we think are necessary to our people. You know, the Department of Defense takes care of weapon systems. We take care of people. And one of our big goals, and it includes all my 7 chapters here in the state, is right now to help do away with the exemption of taxes on our military retirees, our veterans. And that includes, all services, including NOAA and public health service and places like that. It's interesting. I support everything that the Senator, Mayor Lacy Beatty, and Councilman Zimmerman said before, and they took away most of my ammunition. But just a few things for you. Well, that's good because we all agree, don't we? And we must have the same ideas where the information comes from. But from MOA's standpoint, it's interesting to note that there are only 3 entities in this country that tax all retirees' military pay. That is the District of Columbia, California, and of course, Oregon. And of the ones that were mentioned earlier, there are 37 that give benefits, exemptions from about $10,000 to $50,000 a year, and there are about 13 or 14 of those that do full exemptions. So it's interesting that most of the rest of the country feels that it's worthwhile to give the exemptions to our veterans for the service to the country, which is a very important thing that we do. Only 1% of the people serve right now. It's also interesting to note that right now there are 4 bills in 4 different states to improve the exemption status. In Virginia, they're going from a $45,000 limit to full exemptions, which is good for Virginia, especially that state. And of course, there's a lot of military retirees and stuff there. California has even got a bill in to exempt $20,000 of their retired pay. Maryland and Montana are have bills to raise the exemptions from around $20,000 to $30,000 a year over the next 3 or 4 years. So there's a lot of work being done in the country to improve the exemptions of military retirement pay. And as said earlier, Boa knows, we've seen it. People don't want to come to retire here. It's a great state to live in and stuff, but the retirees can find better places. And that's where they go. So I do hope that somehow you and your committee and the legislature finds a way to give some kind of course, we want a full exemption, but some portion of an exemption to the retired pays for our retired veterans. Thank you.
Questions from the committee? Thank you. Major, I really appreciate it. Again, I apologize for butchering your name. I do also want to put on the record that I did retire out of now Joint Base Lewis McChord. When I retired, it was Fort Lewis. And I am in the Great Northwest. So there is credit to what the Colonel previously, Zimmerman, had said. Thank you. Appreciate the statistics. And again, we're not talking state dollars, we're talking federal dollars. And if all of the veteran retirees were to leave, you can no longer count those federal dollars. Not to mention the fact is that veterans come, they retire, and they put more money into the economy. So they continue to spend and support. So I'd like to bring forward our next presenter, good friend of mine, Colonel Patrick Harris. Pat, good to see
Good
you.
afternoon. Good to see you. Well, Chair Manning and Vice Chair Thacker and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present our views on SB 225. My name is Patrick Harris. I am a retired officer of the Uniformed Services of the United States. I was an Army helicopter pilot in Vietnam, a Coast Guard transport pilot in Desert Storm, and a helicopter rescue pilot in North Bend, Oregon. I retired from the service after acting as the commander of Coast Guard activities in New York City on September 11th, 2001. I represent the Military Officers Association of America, specifically the 92 members of the Emerald Empire chapter here in Eugene. Our chapter and the national organization's 364,000 members work to advocate for all veterans, service members, and their families and survivors, especially on military personnel matters and proposed legislation affecting the career force, the retired community, and veterans of all uniformed services. Because Oregon only exempts military retirement earned before 1991, we are losing our ability to attract veterans to live in this state after retirement. This has become well known to the retiring service members, as evidenced by the fact that veteran population in Oregon has decreased from 11% in 2010 to just 6.3% in 2023. Oregon needs to attract uniformed service retirees because it is the virtues these individuals bring with them, such as their proven ability to work with others and their demonstrated respect for laws, rules, and for other people, that makes them the kind of citizens that communities build around. Oregon is competing with other states to attract the skills and qualities of military retirees. Because the 36 states that exempt 100% of military retirement pay from state taxes, another 13 states have partial tax exemptions. Only California and Washington, D.C. Tax 100% of retirement pay. So I'm giving credit to Oregon for the 1991 phase. When Oregon takes the steps to address their tax policy that rewards only those who served before 1991 and ignores those who served on 9/11 or during the Gulf Wars, they will demonstrate that their uniformed service members preparing to retire, that the state of Oregon values them and wants them to become citizens of this state. On a side note, if this tax break is considered a reward for serving our country, why would you cap the exemption at age 63 when your own citizen soldiers, the Oregon National Guard and the reserves, don't even start drawing a pension until age 60? I urge the committee's support on SB 225. While we cannot be the first state to exempt military retirement pay, do we really want to be the last? Thank you for your opportunity to present my views. We look forward to working with you to better the lives of those who have served this country faithfully.
Question from the committee. Colonel, thank you for your testimony, and for those that may be listening, I am an honorary member of MOA, Emerald Chapter, Emerald Chapter. Thank you for that honor. And I'm asking at this point, I have one other person for remote testimony. Thank you again, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
My good friend, Ken Evans. How are you doing today, Ken?
I'm doing very well, Senator Manning. Thank you for this opportunity, and it's always a pleasure to see you. And that invitation for breakfast at Ye Olde Pancake House is always open.
Thank you. So if you give us your name and begin your testimony.
I sure will. My name is Kenneth Evans. I am a member of the Emerald Empire chapter of the Military Officers Association of America. I have heard a lot of very good factual information today, and I won't repeat a lot of it as it is right on, it is verifiable, and also in real life experienced. Our chapter has lost members in recent years as their lives change and other situations come up. They have chosen to move out of state, choosing a number of areas that are low to no income tax states. I'm going to say that I am a member of the Uniformed Services. I am a retiree 06 from the United States Public Health Service. People forget about the Uniformed Services are all branches of the services that serve the United States of America. The USPHS and NOAA are not often seen, although I spent a good amount of my career in Alaska, and a good portion of that entailed joint exercises with the Air Force and Army out of bases in both Anchorage and Fairbanks, dealing with Arctic conditions and requirements. The entire medical corps of the Coast Guard is USPHS officers. There is a long history of all uniformed services working together, NOAA on sea services, weather, etc. I won't belabor that, and I understand what the content of Senate Bill 225 is. I am a great believer in you've got to start somewhere, and that this is a good start. I think Captain Harris mentioned a couple of things on the age I think are important to consider, and those people that would not qualify because of how it seemingly is written. I would just probably end on saying that I am not unusual with a lot of our members. I currently sit on 3 different nonprofit boards in my retirement status, amongst other things, to work for the betterment of children, youth, and uniformed services, military officers in this great state of ours. I did come from Alaska back to Oregon. That was almost a hard decision to make, as Alaska is a zero income tax state, and they had the permanent fund dividend. So So coming back here was predicated on family and then working within the confines of what Oregon offers. I love Oregon. I'd like to see more of our members relocate here. And as stated by so many people, they have so much to offer, both in their additional work environments, but also in nonprofit and the giving back to communities and a number of people in for the youth of the communities. I will probably end there, although as people who know me know, I could probably talk for hours. So with that, I again respectfully thank Chairman Manning, Vice Chairman Thacker, and the committee for allowing this testimony today, and hope for your positive consideration of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Appreciate it. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, well, Senator Brock Smith.
Well, no questions. I really appreciate the Colonel and all of the testimony that we've received, but I just want to take an opportunity to thank you, Chair Manning, for bringing this bill forward. It's something that we should have done a long time ago. And of course, Vice Chair Thatcher for her sponsorship. I put my name on the sponsorship as well.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's a critically important bill. And as we heard through the testimony, there's other states that are far ahead of us on this issue, but getting this moving forward will be a good first step. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. The question is that military retirement pay, which is federal dollars. Let's be clear, federal dollars. It's not state dollars. Up until 1991 was exempt in the state of Oregon. I understand everybody's looking for ways to get more money, but then when it was taken over to start taxing military retirement pay, I think someone was very desperate. We need to make sure we are confronting this, because my mission is to make Oregon a veteran-friendly state. I am so happy and proud to be partnering with the vice chair who came out with the bill last year. I did the bill the year before, and now we are coming back again in full force because it is incremental steps to get there. Sometimes it's too easy to do the right thing. There are some things that I think that I want to put in the bill, amendments to make it more specific. I have had conversations with Department of Revenue, and they have given me some things that I'll be sharing with the vice chair and the members of the committee, which will make the bill more defined. And there is some other things, language, that will be very helpful. I'd bring the bill back out, and we'll have some more discussion on the bill once the amendments have been drafted, and then we will have a conversation about those. So more to follow. Is there anybody else online that would like to testify on Senate Bill 225? Seeing none, I am closing the public testimony on Senate Bill 225 and opening